brothers, do you recall when the grasslands reached to the horizon? And the deafening roar of countless wings overhead. Back when Rome was a village at Britain, the Emerald Island. Before we gave up on our future and buried our dead. So, alright guys, I don't think anybody is going to be joining us except for Nathan, who already told us he's going to be late. So I'm going to subject you to my quick rerun of my Battle of Plataea attempt last time, because I got so sick of trying to figure it out that I actually created an animation after the fact, and I'm very proud of it. It was quite an interesting one. Thank you, Jake. I just got your message. So let me make sure that I have the right file open, and I will show you my lovely animation, which I spent like a week on, which is lovely. That's what I did while I was not able to do anything else, is design military maps. Okay, so open this thing. Because I think my attempt to explain it last time was an absolute disaster, and therefore I'm going to show not tell. Okay, share screen. Okay, guys, so back to our lovely Battle of Plataea, and this is a very simple layout. This is our terrain we're looking at. Now, I will say that this part of the river, not river right here, is really just an itty-bitty spring that people can walk across. So this is not a significant body of water. This, from what I understand, is a significant enough body of water to where it presents minimal challenge to cross, but it is not exactly the Danube. And this right here is a source of water, and this is the only serious source of water other than the river itself. So we have the Persians who are on the one side of the river, and the city of Plataea over here. Temple of Hera is mentioned in some descriptions, so I marked it. Temple of Demeter is also mentioned. This right here is basically mountainous. Starting here, I tried to overlay terrain. So right here is a plains where the Persians want to fight, because the cavalry can have fun here. But Greeks don't want to do that. They're hanging out over here by the mountains where they can have their back up against the wall. Move you guys over. And so for a while, everybody sits and waits to see what everybody else will do. What the heck? I'm trying to move you guys and it won't let me go away. Okay, so next. So this is our disposition with the according commentary. So the Persians camp is very fortified, and they're waiting for the Greeks to come down to the plains. The Greeks line up over here, up in the mountains, high up in the mountains, and chill. Everybody waits for a while. Now, the way that the Persians are lined up, they have their cavalry on the flanks. The Persian allies over here, various Medians and other Greeks are here, and the lead Persian troops are here. The way that the Greeks line up is Spartans, random various Greeks, and then the Athenians. Okay, next step. From that position, Greeks decide to move forward. They're not coming down to the plains, but what they're doing is they're still staying kind of up against the foothills of the mountain, but they line up across the river from the Persians. And so the Spartans are facing the Persians. Athenians are looking basically mostly the Thebans and other allied to the Persians, Greeks. And other Greeks are just kind of chilling out and not doing much of anything else. So Mardonius sends his cavalry to harass the Spartans, and at the same time his other regiment of the cavalry to take over the spring to cut off the Greek allied forces, all of the Greeks, from their source of water. In this expedition, he succeeds in taking the water source, but the very elite and very well-known and beloved Persian commander gets killed, which does not make Persian cavalry very happy. But they now have control of the water source. So the Persians maintain control of the water source, but the part of the cavalry that went up against the Spartans and lost their commander pulls back and hangs out with the Persians. So now, as you see, disposition has changed completely. Mardonius decides, I've had enough, I'm going to commit, and he moves forward. His cavalry joins in. He sends his elite cavalry up against the Spartans. Athenians wind up facing the various assorted Greeks that are on the Persian side. So what happened in the middle of the night? Because the Greeks no longer have access to the source of water, they decided to pull back and regroup. well, back then people that were not used to fighting in the dark, they got lost. They literally got lost and disoriented. And so instead of having kind of an orderly retreat in the same general direction, the other Greeks, including the Plataeans, wound up in the middle of nowhere near the city of Plataea. The Athenians wound up all the way over there, and the Spartans wound up being kind of by themselves back up in the original camp. So in the morning when the Persians woke up and they realized that the Greeks are no longer there, they decided to chase. Because at this point in time, Mardonius, I think, lost it and said, I've had enough, let's finish this. And so he sends his peoples, the cavalry up against the Spartans. The allies wind up running into the Athenians and they get stuck there for the rest of the battle, more or less. Part of the cavalry unit, and this is the Scythian cavalry unit, the one that was guarding the spring, with its own commander. These are the Saki Scythians that are recent allies of the Persians, are chilling with the Persians. Well, the Spartans managed to destroy the Persian cavalry, the elite Persian cavalry. And seeing that, the other part of the Persian cavalry, the Scythian unit, says bye-bye and does not engage and just bails, just takes off. So their chieftain takes his troops and he departs. Over here, the Athenians are still having fun with the other Greeks and doing absolutely nothing useful with the other Persian Greeks and doing absolutely nothing serious or important for the main battle. The other Greeks, seeing that we are having some success, decide to have enough guts to march forward and join the Spartans in attacking the Medians and the Persians here. So now Athenians have beaten their Persian allies. Because, well, first of all, Mardonius, in this whole melee, Mardonius gets killed by a flying rock. Spartans and their Greek allies have managed to wipe out the Medians, whatever, basically the elite Persian corps that was with Mardonius, his personal guard. And so now that all that's left of the Persian army as such is basically various assorted Persianesque, Medianesque peoples who have lost their command, have lost their cavalry, and are starting to run. And Athenians have finally finished off with their assorted Persian Greeks, and they joining the other Greeks in pursuing the running away remnants of the Persian army. And finally, the final phase is when the cavalry has gone bye-bye, it's not there anymore, like they just took off and they never engaged. And that's why I cut the Medians by half. It's not because so it would fit, but because literally they were cut by half. So of the original Persian army, now we have, pathetic remnants left. And all the Greeks close in on the camp and eventually break through and slaughter everyone inside. And that's pretty much the end of the story. Is that a little bit of a better and more clear explanation of how things went down?
Seeing you move it around in, animation, it's pretty much what I remember from the last time, but it does make it easier to visualize.
Right. And now I must say, this is my recreation. Nobody knows how it exactly went down. There's various different ways you can arrange these different troops, but the essence of what actually took place pretty much is captured. I mean, the Spartans might have been a little bit more to the left, a little bit more to the right. It might have been this cavalry unit that bailed and not the other, but the end result is the same. I mean, the Persians get absolutely slaughtered. Both cast our shadows as our legends unfold. We are the archetypes that exist within every man's soul. And we will live forever as long as stories are told. We are the archetypes that exist within every man's soul. And we will live forever or as long as stories are told. We are the archetypes that exist within every man's soul.